Greetings to you. I welcome you back. I hope you're doing well. Let's get down to this. We have one more victim who was brave enough to share her story about being one of those that was violated by the rape gang. Let's get down to this. So this is Whitney's account. Whitney grew up in a vulnerable household. Her mother suffered from severe mental health issues, and her father was absent from her life. She was first groomed and sexually abused at the age of 15 by two adult Pakistani brothers. One of the brothers, Whitney recalls, acted as a boyfriend figure. Both brothers would regularly take her to a flat in Birmingham, supply her with alcohol, and in her words, she would have sex with them. Their interactions with Whitney soon turned violent. They began beating her and on one occasion held a hot iron to her face. Whitney recalls that the brothers stopped contacting her after they arrived at her house to collect her and found all of her uncles sitting on the wall outside. After that incident, they never came back. She cannot remember exactly how or why her uncles were there, but she believes her mother had asked them to intervene. Many years later, Whitney's daughter began self-harming at age 11 and even attempted suicide. Her phone contained sexually explicit messages. Whitney's daughter told her there was a sex room at school run by the older boys. Deeply concerned for her daughter, Whitney contacted social services. They offered little support beyond talking through the problems. In one instance, social services accidentally sent her 6 other children's case files instead of her daughter's, which left her deeply distrustful of their ability to help. Whitney's daughter was coerced into sending a sexual image, which was then circulated across multiple schools, the local community, and eventually the internet. This led to her receiving unwanted attention from adult men of various ethnicities and from multiple countries. From that point on, Whitney's daughter began going missing regularly. These disappearances were directly linked to sexual demand and exploitation by older boys and adult men. She was threatened with violence if she contacted the police and sometimes returned home with items of clothing missing. Whitney repeatedly reported her concern to the police and social services, clearly stating that she believed her daughter was being sexually exploited. Police responses were often delayed, statements were not taken, and investigations were closed without further action. Social services refused to relocate the family, downgraded the risk level, and eventually closed the case despite ongoing exploitation. Whitney herself was blamed, and her own past was used to undermine her credibility as a parent. Her family received repeated threats, including warnings that their house would be burned down, faces would be slashed, and machetes would be used. Later, Whitney discovered that her daughter had been placed on the National Referral Mechanism, NRM, as a trafficking victim without her being informed. The NRM is the UK's official framework for identifying, referring, and supporting victims of human trafficking and modern slavery, and serves as a recognition by a designated professional that an individual is a potential victim of human trafficking or modern slavery. Statement from Whitney. My daughter told me after a while that there was rape. There was a sex room in the school. I told the school about it, but they completely shut it down and said she was lying. So, the mother was the first victim. Years later, her daughter became the victim. She was narrowly saved by her uncles I've seen comments on social media where various kind, caring, loving human beings have posted videos and information about this Red Gang inquiry. I've seen comments made, people asking, where were the men? Where were the fathers, the brothers, the uncle, the men in the neighborhood to rescue these girls, men in the town? Where do we start from? Where do we start from? The job I do involve working with people who are going through various crises, who have gone through various crises in life and still dealing with various things. We ask these questions sometimes. As you have seen from Chloe, Fiona, Michelle, fathers were barely there. Mothers were down with mental illness. A stepfather who was an evil monster. The girls were easy prey. Whitney knew what happened to her. She cautioned, she alerted the services. And the commonality among the 4 cases that we have seen so far, the authorities, the services, the police, everybody refused to work. This is demonic. There is nothing anybody's gonna say. This was demonic. The demon god that needed sacrifices of children. You either take their lives, either literally having them murdered, or destroy their lives. Either way, the child is damaged. How many of these girls would have made things out of their lives today? How many? That's damaged, destroyed, shattered, and battered for life. Indelible mark left on them. How many of them would have confidence? I thank God so much. I've heard about Sammy Woodhouse, who told her story on Michael Knowles' platform. I saw her on David Wood's, as in their reports. They went through her interview with Michael Knowles. So she is a powerhouse, a patriotic, strong, brave woman. My friends, what are you doing? Share, share, share. I'm making these short so that people can see. Not everyone would want to go read the entire episodes. 219 pages. The victim's account cover more than 100 pages. I'll do as many as I can because we mustn't let this just go, fizzle out, and then life as usual. We will not be distracted by the football. Yes, the World Cup. We will not be distracted by the war in the Middle East. We will not be distracted by any terrorist attack anyway. We will not be distracted by Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Netanyahu, the monster Islam terrorist regime, IRGC terrorist regime in Iran. We will not be distracted. I know people are still being slaughtered in Nigeria. I will not be distracted. I will cover them as much as I can. But this case, I will sit on it. That's why I'm doing this, piece by piece, so that it's manageable chunks that people can have. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you for stopping by, watching this. Let's share it with other people. Let's make the awareness. These girls must have justice. Everything, everybody involved must pay.